Good evening from Johannesburg. I'm Oliver Dickson, a political commentator and a radio broadcaster. Welcome to Let's Have It Out. ENC gives a variety of different newsmakers the opportunity and chance to host this program, unfiltered, accountable and accessible. South Africa, our voters' roll will have more parties than ever before this year. The number of voters will also be the highest our electoral history has ever seen. May 8 is set to be perhaps one of the most contentious elections in our 25-year-old democracy. 10,000 candidates are raising their hands to represent you, with 48 political parties on the ballot paper, many of which you may never have heard of. Smaller parties often fall through the cracks and are drowned out by the noise of bigger and more established party campaign machinery. Who are some of these parties? Do you know them? Do you know what they stand for? What are their track records, if any, and should you give them a chance? These are the questions I pose to my audience today about smaller political parties. And with me on the panel, I have Vuyo Letu from the ATM. I'm joined by Tando from the Women's Party, Women Forward Party, and I'm joined by Dumo, who is representing the Capitalist Party of South Africa. Thank you for joining us. I want to start with you and give you guys each an opportunity, 1 minute, to state to us who you are, what your party is, what it stands for, and why we should even give you a consideration. I'll start with you, Dumo.
Okay, I'm part of the South African Capitalist Party. We're a party that believes in liberty, freedom, and property rights, and also individual rights over group rights. And, you know, it's a great party, and I think that people should vote for it.
Tando, go ahead, ma'am.
Okay, so my name is Tando Kumete. I'm the provincial leadership for the Gauteng region of Women Forward. So Women Forward is a women-led organization, and we not only speak on rights of women, but also those of children, people living with disabilities, the LGBTQIA plus community, and all other marginalized groups within the country. We stand for equity, not just equality. And we want to dismantle patriarchy in this country because we know that that is what's breaking this country apart. And the reason why I joined this organization is because in the same way that we fought against the apartheid regime and racism, we now have got patriarchy as the core reason as to why this country is falling apart. And the majority of our country is the one that is being oppressed. And I feel as someone who forms part of that oppressed community and population that I need to come forward as a woman and to stand against patriarchy.
Violet, to tell us, African Transformation Movement, who are you, what do you stand for, and why should we consider you?
Evening, Oliver, and evening to the viewers. The ATM is a formation of ordinary South African citizens who are representing the women as well as capitalists and all South Africans in general. What we are standing for, it is humanism, because humanity comes forward. Everything else follows after. We as South Africans, we treat one another as human beings, and we advance the common objective, particularly for the most marginalized people in the country. That is who we are in a nutshell.
Why would you say your party is different from any of the two parties sitting before us right now?
Well, we don't have any political baggage. That's the first thing. Also, 10 of us, you know, many of us work in the private sector. Many of us have our own businesses. And also at the same time, when you look at what's happening in this country, I think that what also differentiates us is the fact that we've got 10 good solutions to solving problems that many South Africans face today, and all South Africans will benefit from it when we implement.
But what do you mean you don't have political baggage?
As in, none of us are seasoned politicians. We're not career politicians. We
So
made our
why is
trade.
that important?
It's important because if people with political baggage are in the party, then people just think that, well, look, this person is just trying to make a name for himself. But for us, we have good solutions, and you can check them out on our website.
Are you any different from that, Tando?
Of course we are. I mean, we're a women-led party, and we're also open to all other marginalized groups, such as, you know, young people, your gays, lesbians, trans people. So we're very much different because we're the only women-led party that will be going to compete and contest.
You have political baggage,
No,
so to speak.
No, I mean, we don't have necessarily political baggage, but The truth is that there are certain groups in this country that have been sidelined, that have been oppressed, and we've normalized that. We think that it's okay, and it's the majority of the country that's suffering. And unfortunately, patriarchy has shot itself in the foot, because now even the heterosexual man can't get a job anymore, and they turn to alcohol and abusive behavior. So it's just, a patriarchy is just something that cannot sustain this country anymore. And what makes us unique is that we're a bunch of women leaders who want to serve the entire country for the benefit of humanity in South Africa.
Violet, you guys have political baggage. You've got Mzwanele Manyu, who's not only an NEC member, but you're head of policy. He steers the policy direction of the party. Should we at all care about that?
He does not have political baggage. Us as a party, we're a formation of the people. We come from organizations that were serving people in different forms. The major issue is that when you don't have political power, you cannot be in a position to influence and give direction to a number of issues in the country. So this is not a matter of us now coming and suddenly wanting to have political power for the sake of having political power.
Right.
We've been serving the people, but we have had stumbling blocks. Now, by us having political power, it will give us enough...
so you have a political history is what you're telling us?
What we have is that we've been part of organizations that are serving the people via community-based organizations, churches, and so forth.
Right.
Now, those organizations, they've got experience in identifying the needs of the people as well as the solutions to those problems.
Duma, you guys don't have any of that. I mean, you guys have jobs in the private sector. You don't really have much experience as politicians. Why does that make you better than his party?
Makes us better because of the fact that in the private sector, when you create solutions and they don't work, you have to face the free market and you can go out of business. So you have to create solutions that work. And that's the track record that we have. We've been serving customers.
Why should we consider at all a person in the private sector as someone who's able to administer public service?
Well, because people in the private sector actually serve the needs of individuals every day. We create goods and products for people that they need, and we make their lives easier that way. And, if you apply that same mentality to, being in government or being in parliament, we can apply that same solutions. The
same solutions, Steinhoff, McKinsey, KPMG, price fixing, rand manipulation by the banks. That's the example the private sector is leading by. Is that the example we will see in public service?
Well, I mean, if you want to put it that way, I don't think that I don't even think that the government-owned organizations are even better. If you look at South African Airways, you look at...
So there's a choice about the better devil?
Huh?
So there's a choice about the better devil?
No, who performs better? And the private sector performs far better than the government one, so... And the evidence is in the pudding.
You guys don't like the private sector much, Vuyo. You guys speak about amending or repealing the Public Procurement Act as it stands, the Public Finance Management Act. How will you guys respond to that sort of attitude by people thinking the private sector is perfect as it is? I'm going to throw that question to you after the break, but we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back right after this.